So hello students. In the last videos we had actually achieved the success of your Java application connectivity with your database, and today we are going to teach you how to create a GUI application, and later we see that how that application can be connected with your database. So now, in order to create a GUI application, there are two methodologies. In fact, I'll call them as technologies. So in the previous versions of Java, we were using this AWT kit. It was called as Advanced Window Toolkit. So previously in previous versions, we were able to create a GUI using AWT toolkit. And later on in advanced versions, when we actually made updated few of the GUI components, so this Swing was introduced. So this Swing is one of the collection of components, we'll call it, and we'll say that your total GUI will be actually created using the classes which are stored within this Swing package. So together with Swing as well as with AWT, we will be able to create this GUI application. Why we still need AWT is that there are certain events which needs to be handled, and all the events that will be handled even if we are using your Swing application. So all the events are basically stored within this AWT package, and we still are using the same events which are stored within the AWT, but your application components will be your Swing. So as you can see that there is a difference how to import this AWT and Swing is. So your Swing package is imported using javax.swing.star. So you have created this class, and we are having this main class ready right now. So we are right now on the way of creating this GUI. So the very first thing that we need to create is that your application would be needing one window. So as we are writing this program in this window, and every window is having this minimize, restore and close button, how can we create a window using Java application? So inside Java applications, that particular window that we are going to create is called as a frame. And that means we should basically create and start creating that application by creating one frame. So how can we create a frame? There are two ways. So one way is like I can just make use of this class and extend it from your JFrame, or we can do what? We can have a main class ready, and we should have a separate class that should be extended with frame. So what I'll do is, why to waste another class in order to create a frame? I make use of this class extended from JFrame. So this J is actually a prefix. So any class name in Java that is having a prefix with J, you can assume that that is a Swing class. Either we can use it, we could use a frame class also, in case if I use frame class. So your frame class is an AWT class. So as your Swing applications, that will be needing your lighter and more advanced components. So we are making use of this Swing component. So what we are doing is, right now, as your class is right now a JFrame class, so let us start creating an object of it. I'll just show you how this object actually looks like. So if I just create a JFrame, right, and just close this application. So just by creating an object of, sorry, it should not be JFrame. Basically this own class is actually the main class of it. It can be called like this also. Either this JFrame was also applicable, but why to create a JFrame separately? Because this my GUI is also a child class of JFrame, so we should actually make use of this constructor. So let us run this application just by writing here, and just closely watch. So what happens on the screen? Let's compile this program and run it. So when you run it, so this particular frame should actually come up. Why this not has come up? Because we have not made this JFrame already. So this JFrame would be seen on the screen. Let us call this ob.setVisible method, and let's call it as true. So let me make use of the set visible method and compile it again. Now that you can see that this window is actually in the corner, you can observe that this window is there. So this is the application, this is the frame we have just been created. So as you were saying, this was having very smaller size because we had not set the size of this JFrame as well. It was looking like this. So let us create a size for it first. So let's set the size by calling the size function. So let us call it as a square window. So 400 pixels as the height, width, and 400 as the height of it. And let us also give it as a title. Set title as my GUI. Let's save this and let me show you how it exactly looks like. So as you can see, this frame is ready before you. It is having a title on the title bar, but this frame doesn't have any body. So right now our purpose would be to enter certain GUI component within this frame and work over that. So the first frame is ready. The first step is ready before us. So let us add few components. So how we'll be adding certain components into? So let us see how many components and what are the components that I require. So first component that I require would be to place a label in this GUI. So let me call a JLabel class to create a label like this, and let us have label text field. So in order to have a text into your Java application, so the class for that is your text field. Now that is your T1. Now let us have two more JLabels. So let us copy that and have a copy and paste together. What we can do is, this will be your label for your names. So let us have another label right here. So that can also be done, like all the JLabels can be directly created. And let us add two text fields. So what I'm supposed to do is, I will be giving a label as employee number right here and inputting the employee number into this T1 text field, and then there will be two texts. L2 JLabel would be for your name and L3 would be for your address, and this T2 and T3 rather, these will be the two text fields where your name and addresses are supposed to appear, right? So let us add these components onto your JFrame. So how to add that? So there is one way this can be added. So before this is done, there is a method that is called as ob.add, and inside this I can make use of adding this label. So let us add a text field also. But as you can observe, you cannot add L1 and T1 before they are actually being created. So how you can actually create those labels before they are actually added within that, right? So let me do that. What we'll do is, in fact, we should have a constructor, so that gives the task for you. So the constructor for this frame is actually the place where all these GUI components should be created and should be added, right? So instead of doing this right here, we can make use of constructor also. So let us first create these objects. So I'm creating only one label right now. I'll be calling as JLabel and I'll be naming it as employee number, right? And let us call this T1 text field is equal to new JText Field as of suppose 40 characters. So this is the length that I'm doing is. So once these two components are ready, let's add them to your GUI screen one by one. So first your L1 will be added and next your T1 will be added. So once you have added these two, so this GUI screen will be ready. Your constructor will actually create your JFrame, and your JFrame will actually in turn create the two GUI components, and the two components will be added to that. So once you are able to see this whole frame, your frame should be actually populated with these two, right? So this is the way and the steps how we can create it. So let's see the output, how this particularly looks like. This is your screen again, and as you can see, the two things, your L1 and T1, they are not visible onto the screen. So let us make them visible by again calling this visible method. As you can see, this whole area, this is called as a panel of this frame, is not making this label and screen, label and text will be visible. So let's make it. So once these two are added within that, so as we are adding the components, GUI components onto your frame, we should also actually specify in what order these particular components should be added. So that particular order, or we call it as a layout in your Swing applications. So that layout must be specified. So how to specify the layout? So layout manager is actually one of the component within this Swing application that manages all the GUI components onto your screen. So there are a lot of layout managers. So we make use of a flow layout manager right here. So we call basically a function that is called as set layout, and we can directly call this new function right now in order to create a flow layout. Or we can do what? This is a shortcut to do that. So in fact, in case you are not comfortable with this, you can create a layout first, get this out of it, and create a layout first. And we'll have to name this class again here, like this. So you create a flow layout first and then pass on this layout. This is also one of the ways. So I had made use a shortcut way of doing that. So you can right now join the two things together in one line. In case you are comfortable with this, you can do this one too. So once this layout is ready, so what you can do is you can keep on adding the components thereafter. So let us see how this GUI looks. This is your application that is looking like. You are able to see this employee number, and this is the text box where you are supposed to input your employee number. So right, so it's not complete because we are not having any button added to it. So let's add one button also. So for button, there is a class that is called as JButton. Call it as B1. Let's add it and create it first. B1 is equal to new JButton, and name it as submit, right? So once you create this, let us add that also after all the components are added, so that it also looks like and it is visible there. Let me compile this again and just show you how this looks like. As you are able to see that the submit button is also there, and you can input your employee number. So once you are able to input your employee number, and I need to click this button so that your complete description of this employee is visible onto your screen. So this is the one thing that we'll be implementing, but before that we should also see how this event of just click should be handled in Java. So this is event handling that we are going to discuss in the next video. So in the next video, we shall actually be able to create this whole GUI with this event handling implemented over that too. So right. So till then, we'll meet again. Goodbye.